Hey guys, my name is Mitchell Fleming. I am the founder and CEO of Optic Payments. We transact just under $3 billion per year in payment processing volume. We've been around for 4 years, and I'm going to be talking to you today a little bit about the payment processing industry and the direction that the payment processing industry has been going from an actual operator, not just another talking head. So that being said, guys, the payment processing business is changing fundamentally, and what we're seeing is small businesses, small independent sales organizations, ISOs, are now able to capture what only big business used to be able to do. Why do you think companies like Square and Toast is actually contemplating opening up reseller agreements? But why are companies like Square opening up reseller agreements? It's because they now understand that for under $100,000 with Claude Code and a decent team that understands payments, you can recreate Square for literally that amount, under 6 figures. And there's a lot of companies out there that are making software now, and they're just connecting them to Spin integrations through Deja Vu on the back end, or they're connecting them into some sort of other gateway, NMI, you name it. So with that, guys, anybody can become a software company now. And it's really easy. The barrier to entry is really low. Back in 2024, I started my own software called Viro. It's actually live today. It's the first ever platform where you can click buy it now for a property and own the property within an hour. That being said, that cost me over $245,000 in cash to get it developed. We actually redeveloped it in our office, and it took us under $15,000 in under 1 month of time. Now, that project took 2 years and over $250,000, and I own the development firm, or a piece of the development firm that was developing this software. So I was getting it done at cost, and it still cost $245,000. So the difference in our ability to code now and our ability to build things has changed so drastically that we're now able to do these things and create verticalized software that is going to fundamentally change how ISOs are owned and operate. So what ISOs are going to be doing, if they're smart moving forward, is building out one software, and every single agent sells that software until it's scorched earth, then while the team on the back end is then building another software. So build a software, sell the software, build, sell, repeat, until you've literally called every company on the planet to try to sell that software that exists within that vertical. I have a friend who just did one for trailer parks. We all know about some people that have done them for storage units, and there's all kinds of different verticals that people are building specific softwares for to make it easier for independent sales organizations to resell these softwares and to make a difference within the payment processing community. And that's going to be the real impact, is how many people in the payment processing industry are going to niche down, vertical down, and make sure that they stay relevant in this game. Because ISOs are worried that ISOs are going to become irrelevant, but I don't believe that. I think you just need to start developing. You need to, hire one developer on your team, give him an exact vision, or her an exact vision, and make sure that they're executing that vision relentlessly along with the hard work of your team. Because this is going to be the direction payments is going. So you need to bring it right in-house and make sure that you are creating that program to do so. Now, that being said, guys, the second part of that is I'm going to relate back to what I said earlier. You need to be able to create software that learns as it grows. This is a lot easier than you think when you have AI, building the code for you. Essentially, you can have it learn off the data set that it's getting and continually adapting and changing experiences and giving you advice, so you can have the actual software advising you on how to change the software to make sure that it's going to get the highest usage and it's going to have the highest customer satisfaction. And a lot of people are coming to these mental bottlenecks, and they're saying, well, what about PCI DSS compliance, and what about this, and what about that? Well, don't store the customer data, and you don't have to get PCI compliance. You can just simply use another gateway, like I said, a Deja Vu Spin integration, and then you're going to completely be able to circumvent PCI DSS. All people have to do is a standard opt-in. You have your privacy policy, your terms and conditions, and you are able to then create a full-blown software by using things like Replit, using things like Claude Code. Those are different programs that work really well. So guys, that's, kind of the number one there. You need to create the software. You need to become the independent software vendor if you have the sales force already. ISOs by nature are sales organizations. All you need to do is build the software, market it, and sell it just like you're already doing for other people's software. It's the same exact process, rinse and repeat. Now, the other thing is, how are ISOs growing when there's going to be less door-to-door as we grow, right? Like, obviously human interaction, it's not going anywhere. It's really not going anywhere. But with less human interaction, all we need to say is, hey, how can we use AI, but not quite yet, because it's not quite there yet in terms of voice AI, but how can we use virtual sales teams to get to that same goal? Well, I think that's kind of obvious, right? It's no different than a call center model. You guys need to be starting up call centers. ISOs need to be starting call centers, and they need to be having their agents call. They need to be running Meta ads, they need to be running Google ads, and you need to be having your agents, hit the phones. This is how we got 3,000 mids in just under 4 years, guys. It's really not rocket science. You get a small loan if you need to, or you take your monthly cash flow, you put it into ads, you get leads, and you should be closing around $180, per MID. $35 a lead, you should be able to close about 1 out of 7 of those leads. If you have average closers, call it 1 out of 7. Our average cost per lead is $181 closed to mid. So if we can do it at $181, and then we're paying out at 50%, and the average business does $37,500 per month. Our average margin on the deal is 30 basis points, 60 basis points split between us and the agent. So we're getting a 30 basis point on 37.5. We're pretty much having a 2-month return on investment there, which is incredibly short. I mean, if somebody looked at you and said, you can make, 6 times your money, 600% on your money in 1 year, what would you be saying? You'd be putting all your money in that stock. So put all your money into marketing and sales, because that's all ISOs are. We build the software now, so we become a little bit of a software company, and then we market and we sell. And those are our 3 primary functions. Anything outside of that is generically a waste of time, right? Obviously, we have to recruit the salespeople if we don't have those yet. We create internal systems. Like, there's all those little things, but those things don't keep the lights on. You need to make sure that you're using what you have. And if you're just a 1 or 2 person shop as an ISO right now, what you need to be doing is you need to be like getting in there, getting elbows deep and making 100 calls a day. You need to be trying to finance somebody to build that program while you do the leads. Like, the bottom line is, if you're calling yourself an ISO, you need to be making at least $15,000 a month before you really hire anybody, because you're not going to have the money set aside to make the leads happen and to make the hiring happen the way that you need to do to scale properly. So let's take one step back. You need to just position yourself as an agent of another company until you get to the point where you're making at least $10,000, $15,000 a month. Maybe you live in a area where you can get a rental unit for $1,500. Personally, where I live here in Miami, I live on an island right off of Miami. You couldn't rent anything for less than probably $4,000 a month. So, it depends on where you live. It depends on your lifestyle, but make sure you don't let your lifestyle creep and then get into that and blow out your entire marketing budget, essentially. So guys, if you're not putting a couple $1,000s a month into ads and marketing and really working with somebody on creative, like, it doesn't cost that much to have somebody come out, shoot a bunch of videos, go rent a podcast studio for a day, and go make sure that you're getting professional videos done. Go get professional videos done. go put them on Meta, go put them on different, platforms, Google, get on Google listings, make sure that you advertise yourself only in one specific vertical at the beginning, because you're not competing with Square. When someone types in I want payment processing for a small business, you're not competing on those keywords on Google. You're not competing on Meta. You need to be, I am a payment processor for XYZ vertical. I'm looking for business owners that do over $20,000 per month. And you need to really narrow down that ideal customer, or you're not going to get any customers until you're spending tens of thousands of dollars per month, and you can become essentially a household name at that point. So guys, make sure that you are not trying to advertise and compete against those big dogs, okay? So remember, build your sales team, have your scripts made, have your scripts ready to go, build your marketing out, make sure that you have money to set aside for marketing, and also make sure 100% emphatically that you're not trying to position yourself as a full-blown company if you don't have the resources to build software, market yourself, and hire salespeople. You need to at least be able to afford one employee, because it's almost impossible to do on your own, or you need to partner up with somebody else who's also a small ISO owner. They're a one-man show. You guys need to partner up, join forces, and just make it happen together. Divide the different activities, and you'll see how much further you can go when you can cut your work in half. Guys, that is my advice for the day. It may not be the greatest advice on the planet, but as sure as hell is up there. Keep up with the ISO news. Talk soon.